I'm gonna die under a large man. Castle Ensis. It ends us. Hi. You seem to have glintstone in your sword, so you're gonna do magic at me. Oh, it's just a giant. Probably has a scary attack, but it looks like it's just the types of giant we've seen before. Hi. Let's get behind you real quick. Uh-oh. Affinity attacks. Ow. Is he about to explode? Attack here? Okay. I have not felled a giant for a long time. Everything's fine, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Stop having so much health, it's rude. Okay. That wasn't as bad. I thought he might be some kind of mini boss type thingy. And he kind of was. Smaller. Wow. Everything's down 9. Royal Grease. Royal Magic Grease. I still call all of those spells affinity. I feel like that's one of the earliest things it was called, when an enemy has a semicircle of floating things above their head, and then after a few seconds they'll start homing in on people. I think one of them was called Homing Crystal Soul Mass at some point. They have different origins and different histories and different contexts and elements from game to game. And to some extent, they kind of insist on renaming certain spells for the new universe, and then other spells not so much. Like, I can see why they might not feel the need to rename Lightning Spear. It's the Spear of Lightning. Like, how much do you really need to name it, even if it is contextualized differently somehow by the new setting? Good job, buddy. Picked a good fight. I thought I heard the door open, close behind me or something. No friend ahead. Got another rune. Mesmer Soldier's Axe. Weapon used by the soldiers who served Mesmer the Impaler, a steel axe worn from use. A favorite of those who lost themselves utterly in their lord's war, capable of performing powerful charge attacks. Perfumer's Shield. Golden shield used by perfumers in Landel during military service. Made to be thin and light of weight, even those lacking strength can employ this immunity-boosting shield. Fire Spark Perfume Bottle. Perfume bottle remade into weapon by perfumers of the realm of shadow. Attacks release perfumed powder, producing sparks of fire. The crusade was a violent purge, and the perfumers were not called there to heal. It's a physical attack weapon thing, not physical damage. I mean, like it's a weapon you equip. Can't remember if perfume bottles were a weapon type before, or if they just had perfume as craftables. I usually don't like having craftable attacks because you run out of the resources really quickly. So you don't want to use them against things that aren't strong enough because you'll waste them. But you also don't want to use them against enemies that are actually difficult because they're probably still going to kill you and you'll probably have wasted them. So it feels like you don't want to use really vital resources like rune arcs and stuff like that until you're like actually about to... You feel like this is going to be the one, the successful attempt, but that kind of feels like folly. the successful attempt often is a surprise. Fire Knight's Cookbook. A record of crafting techniques left by the Fire Knights who served Mesmer the Impaler. These tells the art of wielding fire for the benefit of soldiers setting out to join the crusade. Acquire the knowledge of the craft following. You get Fire Coil. Black Knight Gauntlets. Gauntlets worn by the Black Knights, servants of Mesmer the Impaler. Black iron ornamented with gold, a rotten odor stubbornly clings to it. Perhaps it arises from the tainted nature of the blood that spattered onto it, or perhaps it is the wearer's own blackened soul festering after endless slaughter. Woo. They're crusted with filth from an endless war. Oil magic grease. Solidified knot grease made from a... I can't get over the term knot grease. Made from a mixture of magically resonant materials, craftable item. Coats armament, adding heavy magic damage to attacks. The effect lasts only a short time. Believed to have once been bestowed upon low-ranking carrion knights in lieu of the Fellowship's charismatic swords. Characteristic swords. They're not hot swords. Do I have another perfume bottle weapon, or is this a new category of weapon in this expansion? Oh my goodness, there are so many. I don't have one listed here. Perfumers obviously existed, but I don't think I had a perfume weapon. I thought this was a... I guess that's the point, but I thought this was a, Oh, it's not a... Oh, it's a seal, not a shield. I thought it was like the circle. The Elden Ring. That's fun. Oh. That's exciting. That's a really fun idea. It scales with just dex. Just dex. Okay. Well, it weighs basically nothing, so it's kind of fun just to have on hand. Maybe you can enchant it with a particular type of thing. Oopsie. Oh god. That's so disappointing. You gave me a perfume bottle that does this. And its ability is... I wanted an even cooler perfume attack. Damn it. Well, I wonder what kind of weapon arts... I keep calling them weapon arts because that's what they're called in 3. I wonder which one of those might be compatible with it. That might be cool to add to it. I don't know if it's a viable weapon, really. I definitely was hoping that it would scale with some kind of spellcasting stat, because it's a perfumer bottle, but I guess perfumes might inherently be meant to be a non-magical source of magic-type attacks. When I saw the perfumer stuff early on, I kind of wondered whether or not perfumers were a viable build of any kind, or playthrough that you could have. But the idea of having a consumables-based playthrough sounded kind of terrifying. Because the idea of running out so quickly and maybe not being able to keep up with the stuff in general, not knowing if it would scale, blah blah blah. It's interesting that they've added seemingly a weapon. That guy's not friend. You're not friend either. Howie, I'm your master now. Stop it. Stop it! Friend... Oh, that's a... I thought that was someone's back. Like that's their sleeve shooting off to the right and they're crouching. That's a sandbag. Glomp. Love ahead. What does that mean?
I would like one permanent upgrade, please.
Why are you saying that? Is it a mimic? Okay. Milady. Oh. Everyone saying love ahead was priming you for the idea that I was about to get devoured by a chest, because I'm so ready for a mimic to happen at some point. So being called Milady is the funniest fucking thing. Your dog is easy to kill. Ow. 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 Ow! Well, that was very funny. Listen, I thought the dog is 90% dead and stunned. I can safely get off one attack on its master, and it will glance the dog and kill the dog too. And then I just got stun locked by infinite bad things happening to me. It looks like he doesn't come back. Well, joke's on you, video game. I'm only like 5 feet away from the spawn point. I wasted the last 10 minutes talking about perfume. Because I'm so straight. Alright. Stop it. And today, the Dark Souls YouTuber learned, again, what he learned 100 times before. From Software dogs are kind of fucked up. I jumped away. Ah! Oh god! Why weren't spears this cool when I used them as a sad baby in the original game? I'm about to die again. I beat the original Dark Souls by awkwardly poking at people from behind a shield with a spear. They weren't cool back then. Why does he get a cool spear? It's fucked up. Give me back like my cooler 2010s that I'm owed. Yeah. Hi. Yep, didn't work out. People like you that are why I fight so stupidly. Because I get to fight. There's so many encounters where I get away with that shit. Then you have a minor offset of scary dog, and immediately I'm completely disintegrating. Uh-oh. No, 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 no. Ow! You made the floor hot. Congratulations. I'll be sure to put that on your grave. Huh? Don't fall to death? Bolts behind. Yeah, I saw the cave. What's happening in here? What? Isn't this the same place I was already in? What? What? Why? I feel like I must have missed something. Like, why is this cave here? Gave you a butterfly and some bolts. It's, hardly a worthwhile detour. You expect to, like, have something else show up around here. Huh. Weird. That's not usually how it goes. Who's gonna attack me? Nope. Where's the kaboom? Ooh. This sure feels like a trap. Doggy, no! Damn, this dog can take a hit. Don't quote that. Don't clip that out of context. I'm nice to dogs, okay? Oh, there's a cross. Castle cross message. And another Scotta tree. Carved words coalesce. I abandon here the flesh of my body. Don't see why you gotta make such a big deal about it. Most people just get buried and move on with their lives. Message left by Needle Knight Leda, addressed to kindred spirits who also pursue Miquella's trail. Kind Miquella seeks the tower sealed by shadow and the gate of divinity found there. If we are to reach him, we must burn the tree that seals the path. And for that, we require a flame. Once again, they want to burn a tree. Or we have a story where we want to do that again. Gauntlets worn by filth. Lady. A light greatsword that is a sword whose blade matches the length of a greatsword while being constrained to minimal weight. Nicknamed after ladies of noble status for its refined appearance. It really is called the Milady. It's not like a weird misreading or anything. With cultivated form, one can wield this weapon as swiftly as one might a straight sword. Skill, Impaling Thrust. Skill that lets piercing armaments overcome enemy shields. Build power, then lunge forward with a strong thrust that pierces an enemy's guard. Strength and Dex. Loyal Knight's Cookbook, Carrion Knights, Royal Magic Grease. Glint Slab Firefly. This is the one-off thing I found over there. Glintstone Firefly improved by selective breeding. Material used for crafting items, mainly found near Manus Metir. The glintstone that produces its light has become freakishly enlarged, while the span of its life is as brief as a whisper. Oh, that's sad. Anyway, does it taste like candy? Start chomping down. I think I heard that this is one of the new weapon types. Ooh. I like the little opening attack. It's got sort of like this vague, like, fencer-y thing going on with some of it. This is the gayest weapon they've added so far. Can I have a faith one? There better be a faith one. It's just got a very fun animation series. Animation series. Move set. That's what humans call that. Yes. I have enough for the next blessing. I just became noticeably stronger. And most importantly, noticeably harder to kill. Hi! Hi! Oh, there he goes. Well, that's awkward. I'm guessing I can't go this way. Nope, I don't have the right. No, I don't have the right. No, I don't have the right. Don't have the right. Oh! Oh! Surprise backstab. I just want to find out whose Shadow Hound we're going to meet in this game. like last time. That looks like a scary hole full of dogs. That ends poorly for me. Oh, one dog. Oh, no, more than one dog. Couldn't tell if this one was alive or not. Stop it.
Hey, little guy.
I'm hoping there's an equivalent of Malekith and Blythe in here somewhere. Because it would be cool. Look carefully. There's definitely an item over there. Want to go that way or this way? That one looks like it might be the main way, and this might be the optional way. It's hard to guess, though. But the fact that they gave us Malekith and Blythe 2 years ago, and then their expansion comes out on the date 6/21, and it's filled with an item called Not Resin, is a lot of subtext. Whole. Yeah, that's just the rooftop of the one guy who attacked me. Just, yeah, no new items, nothing's noteworthy here. I gotta remind myself to go back to... That's where the hole is. I gotta go back to Round Table Hold to talk to the old lady about the remembrance I got. Can I talk to her anymore, actually? I don't know. I think she went to sleep. Because this is, I beat the game, so I don't know if I can talk to her about people's remembrances anymore. Unless somebody new lets me do this expansion's remembrances. I don't know, I can't remember completely if there was dialogue about them. I think there was dialogue about them in that they were part of the journey she was sending me on. Be wary of liar. So that guy's recommending I go this way before I take the ladder, basically. The ladder's probably a grace or something. And this is probably an item where nothing bad happens to me. It's just more not resin. There's so much not resin. You've had your inventory filled with dog residue, but have you had it filled with not resin? Hi! Hi! Bye! Fall back in there. Ow! Oh. I have to ask you to stop that. You're about to turn me into a spearman. I want that hyper-aggressive, safe-looking douchebag moveset. Give it to me. I think I was still using a sword. I think I was still using a spear and shield in Dark Souls 2. So I think I still remember trying to fight Sir Elan with the spear and shield in the original version of the game. I think it was Bloodborne that finally broke me and made me convert into playing shieldless and dodging, and it wasn't entirely because of what people say sometimes. It's just like Bloodborne teaches you the right way to play the game or whatever. It was just the simple fact that like these psychos, they released Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2: Skull of the First Sin a week apart from each other, So as a content creator, I was playing both of them simultaneously, and the muscle memory gap between the two of them, I think it was already fucking with me that I think they moved the heal button between the two games or something. But trying to use a shield in one game and dodge in the other game was breaking me. So I had to just kind of get used to dodging in both of them, just so I could function. Let's see here. How does warping even work? Do I highlight down here? Show lands between. Show Shadow Realm. So two separate maps. Gotta love PC loading times. More or less just immediately there. Yeah, they're not gonna talk to me. Open up champions. Right, this is just for buying what people look like via the actual costs. Yeah, this is just the equivalent of the store that one guy under the bridge had in Dark Souls 1. Remembrance of Dancing Lion. This is... Raises potency of storms. Is it a talisman? A charm depicting the crazed, cavorting dance of the divine beast conducted at the Tower Festival. Raises potency of storms. Divine beasts are messengers of the heavens, and their rage mirrors the tumult of the skies, of which the storms are the pinnacle. So, like, lightning strike spells, I guess? Like the various, it's fire, I guess, isn't it one of the attacks, earlier attacks that it's been around since like Dark Souls 1 is like Firestorm? Just whenever you have a big attack that's just like over the whole area in a giant mess coming out of the ground or the sky. That might be it. Ash of War, Divine Beast, Frost Stomp. Cold Affinity. Divine Beast Frost Stomp, a skill which imitates the wrath of the Divine Beast's dance, lifts a leg high and stamps it down with a great force, sends a powerful wave of frost straight out along the ground. It can be charged to increase power and range. So it's his version of the Horfrost Stomp looking thing. This is the one that that would be the one that what was it? It's like the sumo stomp that he was doing at us a bit. I had to remember my own thought process there.
I see. You're here for some spirit tuning.
She's just been here for the last couple of years, like not really acknowledging what's happening around her, I guess. Oh, right, it's like a separate category of these, isn't it? Demi-human swordsman Yosh. Absorbed his technique. FP cost 129. Okay, so I can't afford it. I was like, I do have to keep an eye out to make sure I even have the casting cost of this in the first place. I think I've also heard that Latenna can be really good. So it costs you one of each tier. Oh, and I just can't afford the next bit. It's just like the bow version of the other thing. Yeah. Oh, I don't have it equipped, so it doesn't show up in the quick menu. Yosh, you're so expensive.
I see.
I just want a fun little guy to summon.
I s-
I'm running on a D-pad. I guess I can just scroll over here real quick if I want to do it this way too. It's probably how I was doing it before. So it's not on the Y menu. You have to go over here. You can only fit so many things in your quick access. You can also just always go to items and just scroll to like this. No. That's not good. I've been using this menu rapidly in my co-op playthrough because the other stuff hasn't been set up as much, but no, it's a bit harder to manage when they actually have a decent number of them to go through. Alright, back to Castle Enis. They hate us because they eaten us. Yeah, I always want to have this on my quick bar because it's easy to... Someone died again. That just keeps happening. I always want to have Lantern on here, and I always want to have Torrent on here, which means I can only fit 2 summons. Unless I start putting them on, like, my quick bar or something. Am I even allowed to do that? Oh, you can, yeah. That would be kind of annoying, though, because you only use 1 per fight. I pretty much just keep my flasks here. Shh, don't tell him. No, you told him. It was supposed to be a surprise. No, stop it. You're very stubborn, you know that? Just even an ounce of flexibility really would have done you wonders here. I really... Ow. I really need to learn to stop trying to fully charge any right trigger attack. It's just always tempting to go for like the full hit when you have an opening, but they really do let you charge it for like an upsettingly long time. You really just need to release it because you're just so actively like that's part of why I died against the dog earlier and his master and other scenarios that have gone bad as I keep trying to get the hole hidden. In a lot of situations, I should probably just be pressing it. There's just like the part of the brain that's like, if you're doing a heavy attack instead of a light attack, you should do a heavy attack. Like, why not do a light attack then if you're gonna give up midway through? Stop that. Stop that. You and your goddamn monster closets. Okay. Cool building. What's over here instead? Message. They lied to me. Why'd they lie to me? Ah! He's teleporting. He did not teleport well enough. I'm gonna murder that man. Gonna make him cry. Oh, well, this is a whole thing of its own. Oh. Is it the return of that obnoxious auto bow from the previous fight? Yep. Oh, look at your big back step. How's that working out for you? You're dressed pretty nicely. And then you have a bag on your head. I do miss using like quick, agile weapons, like a rapier. But I try to use a different weapon type each playthrough to mix these up a bit. People already get mad enough that I stick with one weapon for so long. It's not my fault that whenever I try to pivot to any other weapon, it just never feels like it's strong enough, or it always feels like I'm just fucking myself over by changing weapons. On top of the fact that it's like, well, the other weapon might not fit my build quite as well, and I don't quite have enough upgrade materials, and so on. When I upgraded Yosh a second ago, I did so while kind of like clenching my teeth, where I'm like, are you sure? I don't know if you can get more of some of these resources that you're putting into this guy. But I'm like nabbing a new spirit summon for the sake of like variety of like, here's a new character. I'm using the DLC as content, guys. Whoa. It'll be cool when I use him later. But it's like, but what if he's trash? What if a different spirit summon is actually meta? Hello? Not meta. I don't mean meta as in competitive with other players online in a PvP sense, but just in terms of like, the game is hard enough that sometimes it really pays to know who the, which characters work out better than other ones. I didn't know much about the ones that people liked a lot in the original game. Like, a decent number of people liked the jellyfish from early on, because it's ranged. And then I guess the lady that pledges herself to you, the Albidark woman, she's an archer. Oh, he's got like a PvP name. Uh-oh. Ow. I died very quickly. He's got the asshole spell. The spell that assholes use. Golly gee. The spell that I used when I was an asshole. I think I used the equivalent of that spell in my Hex playthrough of Dark Souls 2. For a while there, I had an ongoing tradition because I kind of saw this stuff as like a cornerstone of my channel. So whenever I beat one of these games, I'd play them again immediately afterwards. By just looping into New Game Plus, oftentimes. Mainly starting with Dark Souls 2 and stuff. And in Dark Souls 2's case, in particular, it was handy that you could respec a bit and so on, and so like I would change, like I'd beat the game as like my Faith Spear build. And then I'd go back in New Game Plus and I'd be like, okay, now we're gonna do a Hex build, and that just felt intuitive because Hexes were the new spell type that game introduced. Not introduced, they were in the DLC of the first game technically, but they became a whole category unto themselves. And that, I'm remembering now, that game had an affinity spell. Where you had black, where you had the dark orbs over your head that would chase people. Who's shooting me? Holy fuck, he does damage. Stop! Ow! No! No! God, no! Stop! He does too much damage! Okay, here we go again. Ow, the jump delayed the attack a bit. I'm gonna die. Nope. Nope, nope, no, no, nope, 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 nope. Alright. Come and get it, nerd. Uh-oh. You! Ah! I wasn't expecting the roll attack! No! I'm out of heals against one guy. Because I'm a coward. You're out of heals too, though, aren't you? I've still got these. In fact, I'll show you. I'll show everyone. Ow. Gah! Got him. Wow, it's Moonrithel's Night Sword. That man hit too hard. I didn't like it. Ow. Did you aggro down there? Oh, no, you walked down the hill. Anyway, my sparked memory that I kind of lost track of is just like, that's a very effective spell to use in so many contexts. It's effective in PvP, it's effective in just having to fight sort of tough enemies, like equivalents of the guy I was just fighting. Any like human player or AI character that has to play as the equivalent of a human player is like really vulnerable to that kind of spell. Because you get to cast it, and then you get to start fighting them like normal, and then it goes off at an offset timing in the middle of your fight. And it can do a lot of damage, but it's also like an interrupt and a hit that's almost guaranteed to land. And if they do dodge it correctly, then they're probably not dodging your attack correctly, so you still hit them with your attack. It's kind of a douchey move to have in the game, in a lot of ways. Oh, hi. Ow. Nice meeting you. Oh, Marika. I beg, embrace your child and give us a sign. How long must this holy war stretch on? Renala's cameo. There's Rellana cameo in this? Enhances attacks executed after maintaining the same stance for a while. Talisman featuring a gallant portrait of Rellana, the Twin Moon Knight. Engraved as a reminder of the unparalleled devotion to those who left their homeland to serve Rellana. By your leave, we will accompany you wherever your lunar vessel takes you. It rewards you for just holding a stance for a long time in preparation, and then finally firing the attack, which is a little funny conceptually. A finely made blue shield featuring an engraving of a wolf under the moon. Excels at fending off sorceries. The wolf is the beast of the Carrion Royal Covenant, the symbol of the moon's pride that none can forget, no matter what remote lands they may arrive in. No skill. It has no skill. This shield is maidenless. Moonrithiel's Night Sword. Blue glintstone. I kicked something. Everything's fine. I'll do that in a minute. The favored weapon of the steadfast Carrion Knight, Moonrithiel. Moonrithiel is was the Twin Moon Knight's chamberlain. She was a friend to the trolls who served the royal family and proudly wielded their weapons as she fought arm in arm with her gargantuan comrades. Tremendous phalanx. Skill of the enchanted troll knights creates a defensive arch of enormous magic glintstones overhead, which automatically attack nearby foes. It has that ability! Follow up with a strong attack to chain the skill into a lunging thrust. It scales with intelligence, because it's glintstone. That makes sense. I could still be sad about it, though. You can't stop me. See, what do I not have for this one? It's probably the intelligence and the strength, but I'm two-handing it, so I can probably do that part. Two-handing, I don't think allows you to do intelligence, though. I'm not cool enough. Sorry. I'm just too lame. I wish these were stronger. They're so cool. I obviously like them. I literally got the thumbnail art done with them. Let's see if I remember correctly. Yeah, this thing approximately does as much holy damage on its own, while also doing 300 physical damage. It's obviously slower. I could play around with it a little bit. I think it has a lot of shortcomings I have to worry about. Oh well. Alright. Suspicious of long hallway. With door to the right before loot item. Ah! No, stop it. Get bullied, nerd. Ah, comfort. You guys seem to like staring at fire a lot. I mean the NPC, not the players. I'm not analyzing the players right now. Hi. That do be a sniper. Nope, nothing over here. It's funny sometimes trying to think about how... Oh, it opens. Did I have the chance to find the other side of this gate earlier and didn't notice or something? Where am I? I have never been here before. I did not expect that gate to open. Oh. Oh, there's nowhere else to go. I thought this was a door at first glance. Obviously, I was busy dodging projectiles. I bet this is how I kill that guy. Do not underestimate my spite. It is immeasurable. But I think these weapons are 14 inches. Whoop! I think I remember that being a frustration with this weapon too, was that it has a pretty cool weapon art attack. but it was so good at missing. So I would fire it off in the middle of combat, but my character wouldn't like rotate towards the enemy correctly, so he would try to chase the enemy with it while facing the wrong direction mid-combo or something, and just really disappoint me by firing it at nothing. At least it's cheap enough and fast enough that you can kind of keep using it and peppering it in. Holy shit, those snipers have range. Wow. Oh. Oh, is there an invisible wall in the way? Oh. Is From Software's somewhat questionable collision detection fucking you? So I could continue that direction, but that's the obvious way forward. So let's check out whatever this is. There's at least an item right here. Glint Blade Trio. Keep going to status for some reason. Creates a sigil that forms 3 projectile glint blades after delay. Old sorcery of the Carrion royal family. 3 enemies seeking glint blades. The sorcery can be used while in motion. Charging increases the delay. The prototypical form of sword-failing sorceries saw a different subsequent refinement in the realm of shadow. So it's the, I think it's the castable version of the weapon I already found. Because it makes sense that there would be a spell version and not exclusively just the weapon art. We were just here. Yep. It's where I fought the asshole. It does feel good to use this weapon again. It's like good enough for fighting through levels most of the time and going on adventures. I think it's usually just like whenever you fight a boss, it quickly becomes a much less fun weapon to use. Being able to pepper in low damage attacks with lower risk has a lot of upsides to it for being able to exploit openings and make sure you're keeping a pressure up and actually doing damage instead of having to wait forever to do your one weak attack. Instead of waiting forever to try to get an opening for one huge heavy attack like other weapons do. The main problem is just its scaling's not amazing, so I think it gets left behind even with its speed. But above all else, its reach is just so bad. The number of times I'd be literally mushing myself up against the hitbox of an enemy, like the Guardian, those Erdtree avatars and stuff like that. I would literally be mashing myself against their hitbox. Like, I could not physically get closer to them than I currently was. My character literally couldn't. And despite that, he would still just miss. His melee attacks would miss, and I'm like, what? It's a giant enemy that fills my entire screen, and I'm as close as possible to them. Why is my weapon not hit? At some point, it just started to feel like a genuinely untested weapon that was broken. And that was just kind of sad. But it led to me having to shelve it more and more. Because like it's one job is to land melee hits, and when it can't do that, then it's like, well, then what is it for? I'm in melee range. I'm pointing at the enemy. That's all it should take to hit them, unless they do a dodge. But they'd literally just be standing there in front of me, and I'd be missing at point blank range with half my swings. It basically felt like every boss or weirdly shaped enemy that wasn't just a humanoid, it felt like their hitboxes were just tested with, like, much longer weapons, which would be any weapon, like a short sword. I would argue maybe even that the short sword is like the default weapon of all of Dark Souls games, which means just the Dark Souls trilogy, Demon Souls, and Elden Ring. I wouldn't include Bloodborne because its weapons are really weird, obviously. Like just a big, rapidly swingable, slightly hefty short sword is probably what I would default to for testing the game with, to catch the majority of gamer experiences. He died in one hit. That was a lot of fucking damage. So I believe what happened there is that it's a thrusting attack, so it does counterattack damage. Why is there a bloodstain here? That's not fun to worry about. So I think it does counterattack damage, which is when you hit somebody during their attack. But also I have the physic active, so that guy's just having a bad time. Jesus Christ! Did they buff this weapon? Hang on a minute. I just looked at the scary guy with the big mace that my scythe has some troubles with, and I'm just like, sit down! Just literally pierced straight through his shield and stunned him with every hit. And then, yeah, just made a that was a nightmare for him. This makes me want to go back to the first boss I fought, which I can't easily do, I don't think. But it makes me want to go back to that first guy I was having trouble with for half an hour and fight him with this weapon to see how well he responds to this. Big room? Is someone gonna jump down at me? Oh, a grace. It is nice how these these streaks help highlight where the graces are. It's very helpful. I am kind of thinking now about how maybe I might have wanted to. I honestly didn't have time, so it's not really worth worrying about, but it might have been preferable to have a mid-game playthrough character, just so that pretty much just like before the Erdtree burns. Hello. Is this Needle Knight Lita? That's the person that's leaving the messenger. Oh, that's the name of the character that brought us here. So the Needle Knight is the person who welcomed us in here in the first place. I think we haven't spoken to her since then. But she's summonable here. Yeah, honestly, this game's just so fucking massive though. Like I didn't have the time. Toaster prepped a new character just for playing this DLC. And it took him, let's see, if I jump off this, I can just teleport back up. He looked at his Steam page like yesterday and it said like, you've played 150 hours of Elden Ring on PC so far. 100 hours of them was this week. I'm like, that's... No. No. I'm sorry. I can miss a little dialogue and as a trade-off have more of a life. I would have had to have like not finished the last video essay I finished in order to do that. That's such a commitment. Yeah, I guess that's why I didn't do my usual habit of what I talked about before about doing a New Game Plus playthrough the moment I beat one of these games, is that Elden Ring was so astonishingly long that I'm like, dude, this one game was like as long as it would take for me to play the entire franchise up till now. It's not quite in the cards, man. It'd be like finishing Tears of the Kingdom and then just starting over and doing it again. It's like, ah. I don't think Elden Ring's a bad game, obviously. I'm hanging out, having a swell time. But I do feel slightly betrayed that Dark Souls and Zelda are like two of the examples I would use as counterpoints to why I think like the Ubisoft formula is kind of bad, and like having giant open worlds that are just full of like tasks and busy work and padding and not being a very focused and paced story, or not a very focused and paced setting, and not having dense level design. Kind of sucks in those games. Like it kind of sucks that Assassin's Creed and Far Cry are just kind of big blobby maps where you go kill a fox and make a belt out of it. Wow, you have 2 more slots now, and kind of just keep busy. Climb towers and all that. Like, hello? That's where I came in, right? Does this not go anywhere? Besides maybe being a chance to drop back down there. I guess if you aren't using warps, you need a way to get back on foot. Let's see if this is any more higher than that. Yeah, I would generally use these games like Dark Souls and Zelda games as like examples of why it's beneficial to have like relatively refined and dense levels full of exploration, like meaningful exploration, like because like the way you explore like a Castlevania level as opposed to like how you explore No Man's Sky. Like technically you can call No Man's Sky exploration, but it's a giant endless blob of endless landscapes. So it's kind of hard to call it meaningful exploration. It's just more like it's, in that case, it's practically just generating algorithmic data in front of you like a predictive text generator. Like the way that AI generates the rest, the quote unquote, the rest of the Mona Lisa by giving you a landscape around the Mona Lisa as predicted as a generative AI. That's not that far off conceptually. It might, like the technology is different, but it's not that far off in concept from how No Man's Sky gives you quote-unquote explorable spaces. It's like, oh, it started with a basic landscape and then it just kept giving me more and more and more functionally forever, and that's what it did as a game. That's not, I think we can agree that's just not the same thing as like exploring Boletarian Palace and Demon Souls. Those two different uses of the word explore mean very different things. So on some level, when Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring are crushingly successful, I get a little bummed out because I'm like, that might be it then. We might not get more of the specific reason I liked these so much before. And that's a bummer. And I say that as somebody who... Breath of the Wild was like my game of the year at one point, and it was essentially my introduction to Zelda, so it's not like I was an old fan that got to that. But then I went back and played every 3D Zelda and a few of the 2D ones, because Patreon wanted me to. And then going back to Tears of the Kingdom, I'm like, yeah, I don't know, man. And I think that's interesting because it's like, Breath of the Wild was in many ways a breath of fresh air, but Tears of the Kingdom was Breath of the Wild again. And it didn't do enough to change things up, and it was longer. So it's just kind of terrifying seeing things get bloated and longer and longer. You're like, oh man. I think I'll replay the Dark Souls trilogy a lot more than I'll replay Elden Ring. And I'll be a little sad if follow-ups don't massively shift up the formula, but instead just kind of become iterative on all this. And I know there's fans that will defend it, but on some level it's just very funny because like if people ever complained about like the level design of Dark Souls 2 doesn't fold in on itself enough like Dark Souls 1 did, or Dragon Age 2 reuses too much content, so it's the bad one in the series. It all comes across a bit hypocritical when then people love Elden Ring for doing the parts they specifically complained about way more in many cases. Ash of War grants an armament, the quality, affinity, and the following skill. Wing stance. Calmly assume a right-sided stance. Normal attack triggers a rapid 3/ combination. Strong attack triggers a leaping thrust. Usable on light greatswords. Only light greatswords, okay. Little rapid attack. It probably looks pretty cool. Kind of want to see it. Wing stance. The one I have earlier had impaling thrust, so I'd have to manually put it on it. What kind of quality affinity? I don't remember what that one is. I remember it from all the various games, but I don't have it cleanly in my head right now. I think a best case scenario, because they're obviously not going to stop making Elden Ring games. This game is, I'm pretty sure, more successful than everything else they've made by a huge margin. I would love to see them keep alternating. Kind of like how between Dark Souls games they started doing like, here's Bloodborne, here's Sekiro. Like, I would love to see one-off universes as small focused campaigns that are akin to the old formula of having levels that happen in an order and connect end to end. And then they can inevitably make their new Elden Ring game every like 6 years or however long it takes probably to make a game like this. Because if you're a Zelda fan and you like the Zelda formula, you haven't gotten it since Skyward Sword And that's rough. Meowdy. You have 2 swords? I have 2 swords. Let's do this, Rellana. Oh my god, it's Rellana instead of Rennala. I hate it. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm gonna lose my mind keeping these names straight. Uh-oh. Has anybody ever told you you have a lot of health? Ah! Stop it. Ow. Hi. No. I have magic too. Ugh! Why did I get hit by that one? That was a bad moment for me. Oh, big sword. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. Oh god. Wasn't ready for the follow-up there. Oh god. The layering. Okay. Oh, not even a stun from a jump attack. Okay. Okay, calm down. You won already. That's okay. You can take a seat now. You did it. Chill the fuck out. Ah, the jump attack didn't do a stun. Okay, so they do a big sword attack that it has an overhead which you dodge sideways, and then a sweep attack that you could probably dodge through it if you dodge into the swing, but you're probably supposed to jump over it. It's probably what makes sense there, because it looks like the type of attack that you can jump over. I'm feeling a little outranged. No. God, that's a lot of attacks. Oh. She made it go really fast. Ah! Man, the healing animation is so long in this game. Uh-oh. Ow. Ow. You might be able to jump over that, but I think I did it too late. Too early. So it was already, it arced up at me. Yep. God, you're so fast. Enemies developing dual wield specialization is like the worst thing that could possibly happen to me as somebody that got used to dodging. Ugh, okay. I gotta warp. Okay, I gotta whip out my shield stance. I'd be interested in knowing if this stuns at all. The one with a heavier attack. Going for my souls is gonna get old. Nope. It doesn't even do that much damage. For a fucking great sword. God. Yup. Not worth it. I can obviously do a damage spike with the big flame attack, but that only works against... Frankly, that attack basically only works against enemies that are distracted by a summon. Or giant dragons and huge beasts that have huge openings by comparison. But a character like that, I won't get to use it at all. I'll have much more luck with my hovering attack here, I think. I just want my souls. It's too many to leave behind. Oh god. Ah, the reach. They gave you the longest swords in the planet, in these games. Ah, the delay. Okay. Doesn't work out for me. Great. God. Ah, the jump didn't work. I think it was too early though. Oh fuck. No, you prick. You okay? You're reading my inputs. That's such a douchey move. It's fucking reading my inputs and attacking the second I press the button. Annoying. They are fast. The Pata might not be the worst option. Pata? I don't know how it's pronounced. No one ever says this term in real life. Woohoo! Oh, it missed. Oh, that attack missing is brutal at that range. I don't think this weapon's any good at this. Yeah, it's garbage at that. Ow. I reacted incorrectly to that feedback. I jumped in the vertical attack. instead of rolling. And I probably just need to give up and roll through the other attack too, honestly. It doesn't seem very viable. Alright, thank you for not throwing a disc of death at me this time. Oh! Like, weirdly jumped on top of him and got stuck. Woo! Oh. Yeah. Ah, I couldn't dodge yet, still? Brutal. Oh, change target. Swear to God. No! I am not doing well this time at all. Oh my God! Enemies move so fast now. I honestly should not do a critical hit. I should just pepper them with weapon arts, because I think it does more damage, and I could get 2 or 3 of them in probably. I tried to jump again. It just feels like the right thing to do. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That looks... Oh, he's dead. No! There's a phase 2? Why? This looks like a fucking Kill Melania meta build or something. What's happening? Oh, Pontiff Sullivan, but worse. Was Pontiff Sullivan easier, or was I just better back then? Oh God. I'm not totally sure how you dodge so many back-to-back attacks that are offset. Trying to dodge those opening swings, but they come out quick. Ah, they still got me. Oh my fucking God, my health! Okay. Those are hunting them. Oh, 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 no, what is this? That's a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing. Jesus fucking Christ, stop. Oh my goodness. All right, fuck man. I have beaten every From Software game that isn't Armored Core since the Demon Souls. I guess I never played the VR game, and I guess I never played... I have played Armored Core 6, but I haven't played Armored Core for Answer, I think, came out after Demon Souls, whatever. I played all the Soulsy games. Despite that, I feel like a fucking tourist. I feel like I don't belong here. This is so much. Leave me alone, I just want my souls, where are they? This fucking mechanic, I swear to God. Okay. Uh-oh. I dodged way too early. And I had so much time to know that about myself. Yeah, don't stand by that. There's the firestorm. I always want to make that spell viable, but it's such a pain in the ass to actually trigger. Oh god. Oh no! Offset detonation swings. No! Oh, all of my this character has all of my worst nightmares that every From Software boss has ever had. The fucking sword swings that have a delayed detonation. I swear to God, man. Even when I sneak up behind her, I can't get my normal attack, my actual combo with an insane reach to land. That's wild. No! What is this? What the fuck? No! What? Are you serious? I haven't seen all of the bad things yet? What do you mean? What do you... What do you mean there's more? Okay, so... Not the end of the world, you jump over it. I get it. I understand what to do there, but boy was I not ready for that, and I don't know how you, like, be ready for that the first time. I feel like you just die to it, right? It air juggles you infinitely until you die, basically. You can vaguely see they turn into balls that are in the air, but I don't think that inherently implies that you're gonna get, that it's gonna hit the ground and do a level-sized pulse that air juggles you and kills you if you get hit by any of them. I don't think that's an intuitive response to that feedback, so I think it's just gonna get surprised. It's coming for me. Oh god, the stagger, the stacked attacks. Ah! Oh, fuck. The intentionally delayed attack. Firestorm? Yep, they always start with Firestorm. Ah, I still walked into one. I hope this is entertaining. It's not competent. Ow! How did you come all the way over here that quickly? Are you in... What, that's fucked up? This is fucked up. This fight's fucked up. Damn it. I feel better watching, catching up with some Vati videos, trying to, remind myself / comprehend any of the lore. And even the people who literally cover this game for a living are like, if you're like me, your later game was dominated by this particular item. It's like the mimic tier. Here's the cut quest line that could have really added a lot of meaning to that particular thing. Isn't that interesting? It's like, aha! Even the people that literally make a living off this game are using mimic tier, you fucks. Okay. No. Ow. I got hit while running. Whoops. I'm not sure how I managed to fuck up that bad. I'm forgetting my souls. I'm wasting the physic. And also my Mimic Tier's health bar. Oh, you better not change targets, you fuckers. I thought they couldn't in this game. 'Cause they seem to always stick. There we go. It's a bleed, got out of the firestorm. No firestorm? It's this one, isn't it? Yeah. It goes on for so long. Even after you think it's over, it's still going. Uh-oh. Oh, don't kill me. No. And there's the juggle. So that time I got distracted by the swords for obvious reasons. It's a little distracting when 7 swords are pointing at your head and you're like, here they come, they're gonna kill me. So I kind of just lost track of what the combos even were that were happening at me at that point. I just lost track of what the attacks were. So I just got comboed down for free, essentially. No, 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 no. I want my souls. There we go. Ah, fuck. I got thrown off because I was really confused who they were targeting. Because it looked like not me. I pressed the wrong button to cast a spell. No! It's fine, I healed. Ah. No big bubble attack. I do feel a little bad about that. I did want to successfully jump over it. I wanted to successfully jump over the bubble attack, so I was surprised when it was... It only came out once when I was surprised by it originally, and then again when I was already dead. I did not know that was... It makes sense, because that was a really tough fight. I did not think that was a remembrance fight. I think it's because the level leading up to it was much shorter, and the actual character looked less... I don't know, iconic? She looked cool, and obviously her face changed, you're like, oh my fucking god, by that point, but... She's kind of unassuming as like a soldier character, so I thought it was a mini boss on the way to the zone's boss. But I guess that's the end of this castle then. Holy shit, man. Okay. I'm afraid of this game. That's the emotional state we're in. That's the context of this playthrough. That's the subtext. That's the noise floor. That's the tinnitus of this playthrough. That's the endlessly present thing that is happening in this game. I'm scared. I'm terrified. These enemies are fucked up. There's probably a billion other YouTubers that are really good at this game and can no-hit the game and whatnot, and good for them. But I am like they're all Chris Redfield in Resident Evil, and they're gonna punch boulders, and they're gonna wrestle a monster and stuff. And I'm like every Silent Hill protagonist, where I'm just like, I don't know, man, I'm just a guy. Why is this happening to me? What am I even supposed to do about that? So you're watching Elden Ring as a survival horror experience. That's what this playthrough is. Jesus, man. I'm 34 now. I don't got them fucking 19-year-old top 500 Fortnite Twitch muscles. I can't do it. Fire materials. A blood virgin. I didn't even see where that was. Carved words coalesce. I abandon here my heart. That's probably not a good sign by most standards. That often means that something bad has occurred with Miquella. They're probably the final boss, aren't they?
Hello again. Did you meet my compatriots? They're quite the congregation, from places as far and wide as you can imagine. Doubtless they'd have all come to blows at first glance. Were it not for the charm kindly Miquella put upon us, this is what allows us to serve together. The work of a living god.
Ask about the horn scent.
Wondering about the horn scent, are you? True enough. In any other circumstance, he'd be at our throats. Long ago, Queen Marika commanded Sir Messmer to purge the Tower folk. A cleansing by fire. It's no wonder the horn scent holds the Erdtree in contempt. That aside, man is by nature a creature of conquest. And in this regard, the Tower folk are no different. They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war, but it's still a wretched shame.
Who is this? Oh, it's the bandage face guy. May the best win. It's like almost like a cracked knuckle pose. A letter bearing a terse message and illustration of a monk, his hands held together. Seek me to the east if you wish to pursue the way of the warrior. When you find me, you will challenge me to a bout. There is no need for words. Another person to destroy me. When I talk about being scared, it's not because these enemies are completely out of line with some of the stuff we've seen before. Like, they are up there with, whatever the second version of the guy that is, Margot? Margot Robinson. The almost final boss that was similarly brutal. And then, of course, Malekith the Millennia. Those bosses are probably still harder than things we've seen so far. But the fact that we're already in that territory is terrifying to me. I was terrified the moment this DLC was announced because I was like, oh, right. Whenever I think about the hardest bosses of each Dark Souls game, I think about the DLC bosses. Like, obviously, people thought Dark Souls 1 was hard once upon a time. It's not. Nowadays, if you go back to it, it's hilarious how easy it is compared to all this stuff because of how far things have gone. But, yeah, like, obviously, Artorias was a bit of a step up in anime crazy flippy fights compared to most of the stuff that had happened up till then, like Smo. And then, yeah, Dark Souls 2 was reasonably challenging, but literally every single DLC had, like, a game-definingly hard boss at that point. The Fume Knight, Sir Alon, even the alternate Smelter Demon, what's her name? Alana, I think it was. Those were a nightmare. And then Dark Souls 3, at times the DLC bosses feel like you're gonna break. You're like, Jesus, what is this? And then what keeps happening is that the next game they make is harder than the DLC bosses they made last time. They just keep ramping up in an insane way. It's impressive and fascinating that this game has their hardest content so far and is so successful. I do wonder how often people actually beat those bosses. They were, like, the hardest ones are optional, and I think they knew to do that to some extent. I think it's part of why they introduced the Mimic tier, and I think it's also part of why they have, like, a critical path that's so much easier than everything else. Like, Radagon was not very difficult, and the Elden Beast was mostly just very annoying. So I think your primary barrier between you and beating the game is, like, Horaloo. If you can beat Horaloo, you can beat Elden Ring. Because all of the really scary shit is just off the critical path. So they did that thing, sort of classic Japanese RPG thing, where there's like a, go off to this one weird fortress and fight the super mega boss that's a super nightmare and rewards you for being super powerful at the end of the game. Or in this case, super skilled. In a way that's like it's disproportionate to the skill you'd actually need to beat the rest of it. So you will go back to get the real ending after doing all the optional stuff, and it's like a joke by comparison. It's interesting to see that approach. It's like it's akin to, like, this is a bit of a mean thing to compare it to, but it's like a little bit like what they did with Deus Ex Human Revolution, and what they often do in also like Bethesda games, which is that they give you like a hacking skill or a lockpicking skill, but for the entire main story and all the critical path stuff, whenever they do lock something, it's almost always like locked behind like level 1 skill. So you'll have this thing where you'll technically have places to use your high-level hacking and lockpicking skills somewhere in the game, if you got them. It's technically usable and will technically give you rewards, but as you're going through the main story, there's not going to be any real barriers because they want it to be really digestible. And that seems to be the balance that is struck in mainstream development when you have these kinds of things. You don't want to have too big of a barrier to the main audience. So I find that dynamic interesting, that like they have all the hardest bosses be optional and they let you beat the game without dealing with any of that stuff. Somewhat calling into question why the bosses exist, almost, like story-wise, but it's you don't, they're just not narratively in your way either, I guess. But now the DLC is here and things are just kind of terrifying. I would love to rise to the occasion and take down these bosses and learn all their movesets and adapt to it all. But for me, the thing there is that, like, on top of everything else, it's just a crushingly long and exhausting game. So it's not quite the same thing as, like, playing through the campaign of a Dark Souls game or Lies of P or whatever, and then hitting the one big crushing roadblock boss. Like, I really struggled against in Lies of P, I really struggled against the Master of Puppets for a while at the midpoint of the game. But, like, that feels like a big monumental fight. It's time to fight the one big, bad, super tough fight. And then you get to, like, beat another half of the game before that happens again. It's a very different context to hit a roadblock like that. Whereas when you're covering a game like this for dozens of hours, maybe 100 hours, having another monumentally challenging roadblock boss fight happen every 90 minutes, this kills the yin. This kills me. I die.
You have a knack for timing, my fellow. I found the site of a new cross. Take this.
He is finding more, okay.
Miquella has said as much himself. He wishes now to throw it all away. He says the act, though undoubtedly painful, will sear clean the Erdtree's wanton sin. The truth of his claim can be found at each cross, which is evidence enough to earn my belief. Go to the misshapen tree of Umbra. In that forsaken place, blood must spill. Blood of your fellows, the Erdtree faithful.
Umbra.
Go to the misshapen in that forsaken.
That's a very specific term. It looks like an earthworm. Umbra is a very specific term, and if we're mining the Eclipse reference stuff, and how, or not the Eclipse, if we're mining the Berserk reference stuff throughout these games and so on, and like how Dark Souls 3 even ends with a huge eclipse when you get to the final like castle area. There's a huge like bloody eclipse happening in the sky as like the transition for the world, because that world went through a few phases over the course of its story. This isn't the right way. And then for specifically Caelid looks like a lot like the eclipse imagery from Berserk, just the horrible demonscape. Blythe just is Guts, like almost 1-to-1 in a lot of ways. Not like they don't have the exact same story and backstory and conclusion and everything, but they are both a kind of dumb, loyal character with a massive slab of iron sword, a big billowing cape that's kind of shredded looking, and one fucked up eye. I'm cheating temporally there a little bit, because Guts loses his eye in the eclipse, and Blythe never loses his eye. He just has one very squinty eye that looks permanently damaged to evoke Guts. And also I think the big billowy cape version of Guts is post-Eclipse, when he's a lone he's the Black Swordsman that's lone wandering, whereas he used to be in Griffith's company, the Band of the Hawk. Whereas the Blythe that we know is still in the Band of the Hawk. He's the one that's still currently loyal and currently following orders. Because once upon a time, like, this is kind of my read and memory on Guts, is that he has this dark backstory and went through all this awful shit in his original backstory. But then later on, he also then goes on to kind of become hopeful and soften and learn to be friends with these people and so on, and that's all ripped away from him. And that's kind of where we see Blythe. It's like Blythe is in his, like, a very specific position where he's currently reasonably friendly and kind of soft-mannered and, like, likable, but he's also quiet and a few words and kind of distant and doesn't really want to, like, chat. He's here for his mission and he doesn't want to, like, really become friends overtly, even though he is kind of there. Like, there's evoking elements of, like, Guts being this particular quiet character who was softening around the edges over the course of that era. But then Griffith betrays them, and Guts loses everybody and his eye, and the worst day of his life happens. And similarly, Ronnie betrays Guts. Ronnie betrays Blythe, and she knew what was going to happen all along, and he never knew what was going to happen. Crucially, in both cases, the person knew that the person they were loyal to had great ambitions, and they didn't realize that their ambitions meant sacrificing them specifically in the process. So when Ronnie does her plan, everyone dies. Everyone dies horribly that served her in any way. Even people like Inji that... Was it Inji? Was that his name? The giant that, like, saw them grow up and everything, and Blythe, her childhood friend, who was also, yes, the Erdtree's guardian. This is the stuff that's unique to Blythe's lore and not Gutsy at all, is that there was a supernatural Erdtree guardian, and so he was kind of a sleeper agent. He always was going to turn if she betrayed the Erdtree or the Golden Order. I forget which one specifically, because they're not technically the exact same thing, but mostly the same thing for this purpose. I don't know. But Blythe was always a ticking time bomb sleeper agent that was going to turn if she turned her back on the mission, and so that's what she took contingencies for. So she never was open about her plan and betrayed him and just threw him aside to suffer the consequences of what happened. It's actually a little unclear whether or not Blythe did turn or not. Like, clearly Blythe goes feral in some way, but he's still intelligent and still speaking. And the main thing we know is that he wants to find Ronnie, which makes sense no matter how you interpret his text. And he fought off a bunch of Black Knife assassins, who are the same ones that killed the giant, and I think everyone really. So he successfully fended off the Black Knife assassins, who are also, I think, after you if you encounter them. And then he attacks you. At that point, all he knows is that he's at his base, and everyone is attacking him, and Ronnie is gone. So it's potentially accurate that he might not have even lost his mind, and he might not have even stopped being loyal to Ronnie. We never get to see him encounter Ronnie, so we never know if he would have attacked her. She didn't take the risk, so we never get to know, and he never gets to prove her wrong of whether or not he could have resisted the influence of the thing that was happening to him. He was definitely growly and red, and something was up, like it was affecting him, but we don't know if he was able to overcome it or not. All we know is he attacks you, but given the fact that he's at the door of Ronnie's place as if he's protecting her still, as if she was inside potentially, like he's defending her building, it feels like he's not attacking her and he's defending her from that perspective, and that's really upsetting to think about, because that makes it seem like he attacks you because you approached that place alongside all the assassins. Like, from his perspective, it could be not you too, and then he fights the Tarnished too. And I don't know if how much people even talk about this particular approach, but I'm like, I don't know if it's actually proven that Blythe succumbs to the thing, So his death is really tragic at that point. On top of the fact that, like, Ronnie Griffithed him and sacrificed him and betrayed him. It's not a happy time. The Twin Moon Night. Remembrance of Rellana, the Twin Moon Night, hewn into the Erdtree. The Twin Moon Night it was intense. Does that I'm trying to remember Dark Souls 3 now because it's been 100 years. It was like 2015, right? God, Dark Souls 3 is 10 years old almost. Pontiff Sullivan was also a dual-wielding character with 2 different elemental swords that had moon iconography, wasn't he? Like they actually were evoking him. I wasn't insane, huh? Once a Carian princess, Rellana disavowed her birthright and chose to stand at Messmer's side instead, knowing full well that not even the brilliance of the moon could grant him succor. Before long, she became known as the Sword of Messmer. You can get the fucking twin moon attack. That's terrifying. Oh no. Incarnate overlapping twin moons which strike the ground one after the other, violently shaking the earth with moonlight. In her childhood, she and her elder sister, Rennala... She is the sister of Rellana, Rennala. Rennala and Rellana are sisters with inverted letters? Oh my god. It's like how I grew up knowing twins that were named Carissa and Marissa, which is just the meanest thing you could do to your kids, to name them that. Why would you do that? Give them gimmick twin names. In her childhood, she and her elder sister, Rennala, met these moons, overlapping as though nestled against one another. Well, fuck. The lore is definitely getting a little weird if you try to power scale people based on their importance to the story and stuff like that. Because, like, Rennala is not a very hard boss fight, and she's one of the Elden lords that you have to beat to get the Elden Ring pieces. Rellana is, it's her sister, she's over there. 100 times harder. Infinitely harder fight. It scales with strength, int, dex, and faith. Hello! Moon and Fire stances, both swords in one go. Carian light greatsword embedded with blue glintstone, weapon of Rellana, the Twin Moon Knight. 2 swords as a single armament. When two-handing, straight sword engraved with golden flame will be carried in the left hand. Here, and here alone, were Moon and Fire ever together. Moon and Fire stance. Assume ready stance, sword imbibed with magic, follow up with normal attacks to cast glintstone light waves. Freaking just gonna throw Master Sword waves at people. Or strong attack to perform a spinning attack that bathes the area with flame. Light waves can have up to 2 follow-up casts with additional inputs. I'm extremely amused by the fact that, like, as you get into these games, by the time you get Elden Ring, these are the most absurdly hype weapons ever. The fact that they give you the boss weapon, and the boss weapon has the moves the boss had, at least in some form, and it's that intense, is hilarious. I think the struggle is that you quickly find out how practical those attacks are when you're forced to play as... Did I go back here? Did I not use the grace? I think I didn't. The struggle always is that you quickly find out how practical these attacks are when you are forced to use them as just some guy who gets killed in 2 hits and any attack that hits you staggers you, as opposed to your mimic tier or the boss fight, who crucially only gets to be that cool because they can hyper armor through all your attacks and not get staggered almost ever. It's really the staggering that's like the primary constraint for how cool everybody gets to get in a lot of these cases. Like, I get to cast this cool spell where I Malekith at people, but that does mean that nobody has to hit me for the whole duration of that spell, or it doesn't go off, and then I just embarrass myself. Which is the standard. That's normal. That's most of my time. There was a part of the Rellana fight where I really fucked up my muscle memory again, where I switched to casting mode, and then I accidentally used my weapon art again, instead of casting the spell at them, which was a bummer. So they're pointing me that way. But I definitely want to check out the south area to see what's around here. Oh, there's a few ahead of me, one up there at the tower, one to the south. So it looks like the ones from the previous map are listed as stars, and the new ones are listed as crosses. So it highlights which ones are new and old, which is helpful. It would still be helpful if you could look closer at some of these objects. They really make you squint at a tiny square on your screen. I'm fine! Everything's fine. Let's get back to the road to see if I missed anything on the way in. Anyway, we just had a long chat. Let's get back to fighting thingies. They're on horseback now. That's just the hammer guy, though. It's not a tree sentinel or a knight cavalry. Don't know if knight cavalries are in this one or not. Yeah, it's just the they just put the mace people on horseback. Which is a little scary. Go back to my fun weapon. Oh, there's a Grace and a Cross. Easy peasy. Carved words coalesce. I abandon here the flesh of my body. He's got robes. Seek me to the east. This is directly east. What does it say? Dryleaf Dane. It could be that person? I would love more confirmation just because I don't love attacking the wrong guy and getting bullied for it. Or it's probably the right person. Oh, gesturing required ahead. That's a good point. There are so many of these to scan through. Oh, hi. Sorry. Woo! Ow! I'm being punched. Does this person introduce unarmed attacks? Not as a concept, but I guess being a viable fighting style. Ow! Jesus! It feels like it just exasperates my problems I already have with attack reach. Oh god, bouncing attack. Leave me alone! My bod exploded. Super fucking dead. Alright, it is helpful to start the fight in my two-hand mode instead of not in my two-hand mode. So that was a rookie mistake, but also, ow. I almost made it, though. In fact, I got a lot of damage in before I even successfully changed weapons to what I was supposed to be using. Which is funny. I'm really lame. Of course I'll do this. The first time around I thought I could stun him out of that, but he did not get interrupted. Ow. Not my best moment. Ow! Jesus. Ow. Okay. Are you okay? Uh-oh. Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Physical power, strength and dex scaling. A technique for hand-to-hand combat without the aid of a weapon. This martial art combines fist strikes and kicks. The teachings of a group of spiritual seekers known as the Dryleaf Sect, revealed only to those worthy valor and character. The practice of this martial art marks the dawn of an ascetic's journey. Palm Blast. Skill of the spiritual seekers known as the Dryleaf Sect imbues the hand with an energy before using a palm strike to unleash an explosive blast. The already formidable power and impact can be bolstered by charging the attack. The fact that you have to two-hand your fists, otherwise you only do one punch, and then the left punch would be a cast. So you gotta do like, I'm two-handing now. Yeah. Ooh. It's a very long combo. Left bumper is block. It's the heavy combo. And then... Sure you can. You! I do no damage to that upgrades. Oh! It didn't drop anything. Oh. I thought that was a thing that would happen. Oh no. I don't have the gear to fight you. It's oppressive against enemies that actually get stunned. Which means it's probably useless against boss fights. Please don't throw rocks at me. Yeah, I guess that wasn't a proper, like, crystal lizard equivalent guy with jar, or guy with pot. So the pot didn't have anything in it. It could be fun seeing, like, if that fist weapon can be enchanted with a particular element to, like, make it scale well with your build or something, and then do fun stuff there. Oh, it just throws the pot. Okay, so that's normally an enemy that throws pots, and not a guy running away sad and scared to drop a bunch of important loot at you. Whew. Okay. This is, you know what? It's kind of an ongoing gripe, and I kind of wish they would change this a bit. They should just, like, have weapons drop that are already upgraded. Like, especially, like, this has always been goofy in every Souls game, but it's especially goofy here, this far in. Why not just have the weapons be pre-upgraded, so that they're actually viable? Or at least close to viable. They could be a few levels behind or something, but the fact that every weapon that drops in this game is level 1, meaning it's functionally useless when you first get dropped, so that you can't even, like, test it on enemies to see if you want to use it, because you have no idea what its damage will feel like when it's actually upgraded, till you already have spent the resources on it. Like, I don't know. Maybe don't do that way. Although, honestly, I think I would be in favor of the games of this formula stepping away from the idea of upgrading weapons at all, and just make it, like, find ways to upgrade your character, and then just let you freely switch between weapons you find, that, instead of this, it's I think that weapon upgrades are only interesting as far as they allow you to get invested in upgrading a thing to get stronger, which could be technically removed from the weapon itself. Like, you could upgrade a weapon category, you could do what they kind of hinted at with Lies of P, where you could upgrade the hilt instead of the weapon itself, but I still don't love that idea because the hilt had its own moveset and the weapon had its own blade, its own moveset. So while you could customize the weapons, they still weren't removing the idea of upgrading the weapon from the weapon itself specifically. Like, if you changed what blade was on the weapon, it still had the same moveset based on the hilt, and that was the thing you upgraded, so you're still trapped with that. Or the opposite, right? You switched in that case you upgraded you upgrade the blades and could swap with the hilt, but if you don't like the blade, you're still stuck with it. It was closer, but not perfect. Like, if they can find a way to upgrade your combat prowess without having it be attached to weapons, you could more freely switch between things and just have fun with stuff that might be good for your build. And then, if they want, they can keep the customization aspect, which is that you take a weapon and you imbue it with different elements or different builds to see if you can crunch it into a particular playstyle. Like, that's the interesting part, is being able to customize weapons. That changes how you play. But having to farm shards to upgrade every individual weapon you ever find is kind of just a bad system, honestly. Like, I don't think it fits well. I think it limits players more than it enables them to have expression or interest. So it asks you to hyper specialize in a handful of weapons that you can afford to upgrade. And if you don't like those ones, or they don't pan out well, then, well, too bad, you already spent the resources, so you better make them work, or commit to a very long farm for a new one. Because, yeah, oftentimes I do just find a new weapon, I'm like, well, what if I do just want to swing it around a bit? But, like, because we're not only, we're not just in late game, but we're in, like, the mega late game, post-game, ultra-hard DLC, now more than ever, it's just not really viable to pick up a new weapon and be like, let's try this one out. So when they give me something, I can't use it. More often than not. I just feel like if they want to, especially if they're, since it's Elden Ring and they're breaking free from certain parts of the Souls formula, of all things to keep, why keep the exact same upgrade system from the last couple of games? Because I find that, I've been saying I've been calling the system limiting since Dark Souls 2. Like, I've talked about this for ages. Because, like, even back then, you get your petrified dragonbone and your glinting titanite, or whatever the white titanite, and, like, those are rare resources. Like, in a particular playthrough, you can probably only afford to maximum upgrade one item with an ancient dragonbone, maybe two. So if you find more you like, too late. You already spent this playthrough's ancient dragonbone. I don't know. Those are my final thoughts at the moment as we close out today's episode. I think that's worth questioning.